An American Air Force colonel, call sign Dude 44 Bravo, was shot down over Iran on Friday. He landed alone in hostile territory with a handgun, a spraying rifle, and Iranian forces closing in. The government of Iran broadcast appeals on state television asking the public to find him and offered roughly $60,000 to anyone who turned him in. By Sunday, he was out. The rescue involved SEAL Team 6, Delta Force, the CIA, more than 170 aircraft, and a moment that one U.S. official described as a holy situation in the middle of it all. But Iran has now said the entire operation may not have been a rescue at all. Friday, April 4th. Day 37 of Operation Epic Fury, an F-15E Strike Eagle from the 48th Fighter Wing, based at RAF Lakenheath in England, was flying a mission over southwestern Iran. According to the White House press conference on Monday, it was brought down by a shoulder-fired heat-seeking missile. It was the first U.S. fighter jet lost to enemy fire in more than 20 years, the first since the invasion of Iraq in 2003. Trump had been publicly claiming for weeks that Iran had no anti-aircraft equipment left. Both crew members ejected and landed in separate locations. The pilot was recovered within hours, during which one Black Hawk helicopter was hit by Iranian fire, with crew members sustaining minor injuries. The weapons systems officer, the colonel behind the pilot, couldn't be found. His status was listed as unknown. The U.S. military went completely silent for over 24 hours. At the same time, an A-10 Warthog that had been providing cover fire for the rescue teams was also brought down near the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. officials confirmed the second pilot ejected and was recovered. 2 jets lost in a single day. The weapons officer landed in a mountainous region of southwestern Iran, specifically Kolgiluye and Boyer Ahmad province. CIA Director John Radcliffe later described trying to find him as hunting for a single grain of sand in the middle of a desert. Despite a sprained ankle from the ejection, the colonel climbed a 7,000-foot ridgeline and wedged himself into a mountain crevice. He kept his beacon and communications device mostly off. Using them constantly would have revealed his position. While he was hiding, Iranian state television was broadcasting appeals to the public to find the enemy pilot. Iran offered a reward of approximately $60,000. Video circulated of armed civilians searching the mountains. The IRGC cordoned off parts of the region. According to the NYT, Iranian search parties had assembled at the base of the specific mountain where the colonel was hiding. About 14 hours after the crash, his beacon briefly activated. Then he made radio contact. The first thing he said, confirmed by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at the White House press conference, was, "God is good." U.S. officials were immediately suspicious. They feared it was an Iranian trap. Trump told Axios, what he said on the radio sounded like something a Muslim would say. People who knew the colonel confirmed he was deeply religious, and the phrase was consistent with who he was. The rescue was authorized. Before any rescue team moved, the CIA ran a deception campaign. They spread false intelligence inside Iran that U.S. forces had already found the airman and were moving him by ground convoy, redirecting Iranian search parties from the mountain to the roads. CIA Director Ratcliffe said at the press conference, "One of America's best and bravest was alive and concealed in a mountain crevice, still invisible to the enemy, but not to the CIA." The U.S. military also jammed electronics and bombed the roads approaching his location. CNN obtained Airbus satellite imagery showing 28 craters along roads in central Isfahan province, each roughly 9 meters wide, placed with deliberate precision to destroy the road surface and block vehicle traffic. Under cover of darkness, roughly 100 Special Operations troops, including SEAL Team 6 and Delta Force, moved into Iran. More than 170 aircraft were involved. U.S. and Israeli warplanes dropped bombs as commandos converged on the mountain. The NYT described bright orange blasts lighting up the silhouettes of the surrounding mountains. The colonel was directing strikes from his crevice, radioing where he could see Iranian forces advancing. Israel postponed some planned strikes to avoid interfering. The commandos reached him. They moved toward a pre-prepared makeshift airstrip, 200 feet by 3,900 feet, 14 miles north of Sharazai in Isfahan province. 2 MC-130 transport planes were waiting. Then both planes got stuck in the dirt and couldn't take off. One U.S. official told Reuters, "If there was a holy shit moment, that was it." 3 smaller turboprop aircraft were called in. Elite commandos waited in hostile territory for 2 hours. Once everyone was out, the U.S. destroyed the 2 MC-130s and 4 helicopters to stop them falling into Iranian hands. Total cost of aircraft destroyed, more than $250 million. Iran's military called the operation a deception and escape mission that was completely foiled, and compared it to Operation Eagle Claw, the disastrous 1980 U.S. rescue attempt in Iran. On Monday, Iran's foreign ministry spokesman Esmail Baghai raised a possibility that changes the entire framing of the story. Baghai pointed out that the area where the Airmen claimed to be hiding, Khohgiluye and Boyar Ahmad province in southwestern Iran, is geographically far from where U.S. forces actually attempted to land. They landed in Isfahan province. Isfahan is where Iran's nuclear facility is. Isfahan is where the IAEA believes approximately half of Iran's stockpile of 440 kilograms of highly enriched uranium is stored. Uranium that, if enriched further, could contribute to roughly 10 nuclear bombs. Iran's foreign ministry said publicly, the possibility that this was a deception operation to steal enriched uranium should not be ignored at all. This isn't coming from nowhere. In late March, the Wall Street Journal reported Trump was actively considering a special forces operation specifically to extract Iran's enriched uranium. Trump had told political allies Iran cannot keep the nuclear material. The Bulletin of Atomic Scientists published satellite imagery analysis showing a truck loading containers at the Isfahan nuclear complex tunnel entrance in June 2025, suggesting Iran may have moved much of its uranium to Isfahan before the June strikes. The IAEA has not had access to Iran's nuclear facilities since those strikes. Nobody outside Iran knows for certain where that uranium is right now. To be clear, the U.S. government has not confirmed or denied this. Iran's claim is not proven. The U.S. says it was a rescue mission and the airman was recovered alive, which is consistent with the rescue account. But the questions Iran is raising are based on verifiable geography, confirmed reporting about Trump's uranium plans, and the fact that nobody, including the IAEA, knows exactly where 440 kilograms of enriched uranium is right now. Whether the rescue was what it appears to be, or something more, is a question that hasn't been answered. At Monday's press conference, Trump called it one of the most daring search and rescue operations in U.S. history. Trump also threatened to jail the journalist who first broke the rescue story, telling reporters the White House would demand the media organization reveal their source or go to jail. He said the early reporting endangered the second airman's recovery. As of April 9th, there was a 2-week ceasefire. The Strait of Hormuz technically reopened, briefly. Iran halted tanker passage again hours later, citing Israeli strikes in Lebanon. Talks are heading to Islamabad on April 10th. Diesel in Australia just hit a record high despite the ceasefire announcement. The 20,000 sailors may start getting out. Whether this holds is genuinely unknown.